things. Well, now that time has moved on and it's almost 30 years later, he's released an album a couple of years ago, and I drove down to Juliet to go ahead and interview Jeff and his good friend and my friend as well, Joe Flisko. Joe is also an amazing musician and is considered by many to be the greatest living blues harmonica player alive.
But I do think it's important to mention that we first started off recording the harmonica with a condenser mic, which the end result was that there was something that was, I think a good word would be harsh or abrasive about the sound. It was just like E.
Yeah, it was edgy.
In an unpleasant way. So doing a little bit of research, we concluded it on our own, and by checking with others that most people agreed that the condenser mics were the worst white microphones to use to record harmonica. Tube mics were moderately good, they could be good, and that ribbon mics just had a way of squashing the natural harshness of the harmonica and enhancing the fundamental and the richness. And why it does it, I don't know.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah, I learned, I just dedicated myself to bass, and I had two really, really great basses. I had a fretless bass, the Status fretless bass. I actually, for a time, when I was working at After DJs, that the guy that owned DJs was the Trace Elliott distributor in the U.S. And then I got stuff really great cost, it was some beautiful, like amps and basses and stuff. And so then I got a Jaguar, one of the Japanese Jaguar, which was I wanted to use for more of the straight stuff and slap stuff. And so that was the procedure. I was doing those, and then Joe, would be going, okay, you want me to do this? And so I would give him this song, and I'd have it either written out or I'd have it recorded in MIDI and say, okay, here's the melody. Because you remember how masterful Larry was as a player and things that he did.
Absolutely. I don't know if you guys remember a friend of mine that you accepted into the guitar ensemble, Jim Pickett.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first day I brought Jim, and he listened to Larry. He just, pardon my language, he just looked over and he's like, can you believe this fucking drummer?
Yeah.
That was his quote.
Yeah, I know. Larry was, that's why we had fundraisers for him, just so we could, he could be part of this, project. But our friendship has gone on since those days and more. See you later, bud. And it was really fun working with him too, because I would bounce off my edits and say, "What do you think?"